What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex, the best sports capper on YouTube. And I just want to take a quick minute. This video is not going to be too long, but I just want to take a quick minute to talk about Aaron Glenn taking that Jets job. I just don't understand why he would take that job with the Jets. I hear so much about, the paper bag test, and basically if you're of darker skin, you get 1 year to turn the whole franchise around. And if you don't turn that whole franchise around in 1 year, you'll get fired. And I'm not here to say that that's not true. There's a lot of truth to that. But I'm also here to say at the same time that I need black head coaches that act like they have some sense. In what world would Aaron Glenn think, right? This is the hottest time of his life. He'll never have a peak higher than his peak right now because the Jets aren't going to do anything. And even if they do something, it's not like the NFL isn't like college football where it's like you could take a job at let's say NC State and do really well at NC State and then eventually get a job at LSU. It doesn't work like that in the NFL, right? So if you take a job with the Jaguars and you do really good with the Jaguars, no one's going to really pay you more money or try to take you from being the head coach of the Jaguars to being the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs if Andy Reid retires. It just doesn't work like that in the league because you're in the league. You're already at the pinnacle. So I say that to say, even if he does somehow manage to turn the Jets around, which I don't see him doing for a number of reasons, which we're about to get into, he's going to be stuck there. So it's not like they'll have 2 good seasons and he can say, okay, I'm going to upgrade to the Packers, or okay, I'm going to upgrade to the Eagles, or okay, I'm going to upgrade to the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Steelers. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. He's going to be stuck there. And so he'll be stuck there long enough that they eventually will inevitably fall off because it's a poorly run organization. We've seen the same thing with Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan really should still be coaching in this league. But the Jets kind of decimated him. Yeah, I know he got another shot with the Buffalo Bills, but my point is the Jets kind of decimated his legacy, right? I kind of see it going the same way for Aaron Glenn. But outside of that, why take this job? What's the point? What are you getting out of this? I just don't get the benefit for it. He said he had plenty of offers on the table, and again, I believe him because he's at his coaching peak. Why not take some of the other offers? I would have rather went to Oakland. As bad as Oakland's been, I'd rather be there and in Vegas than I would be over with the New York Jets. Because the New York Jets situation is just trash. First of all, you're going over there. You got 40-year-old egomaniac on the precipice of being washed, pretty much is washed if you compare him to his own legacy in Aaron Rodgers, who also brought his boy Davante Adams over there, who also wants to leave, right? So you got Aaron Rodgers over there playing GM. He's got Allen Lazard, who should be a tight end at wide receiver over there. He's got a whole bunch of his guys over there, and he inserted a bunch of aging, on their way out of the league superstars into what was a young, thriving, talented roster in an attempt to win now that failed miserably, right? So you got to figure all that out just from jump. What are you going to do with Allen Lazard? What are you going to do with Davante Adams? Is Garrett Wilson still upset? Does he want to leave? What are you going to do with all these players and pieces? You got to figure that out from jump. Okay, then you got Woody over there, and Woody is a bad owner. So you got to work with Woody, and you got to try to make things work out well with him. And then you got to deal with his kids, who also for some reason have an input on what's going on with the Jets. They shouldn't have an input on what's going on with the Jets, but they did. So you got to deal with Woody Johnson. You got to deal with his kids on top of dealing with Aaron GM Rodgers, on top of dealing with the Davante Adams situation, on top of dealing with Garrett Wilson possibly wanting to leave, on top of dealing with Sauce Gardner possibly wanting to leave. You got to deal with all this stuff. Then you have the loser legacy of the Jets. So no marquee free agents are going to want to go to the Jets. The only free agents who really go to the Jets are guys who know they're on their last leg, like Davante Adams, like Aaron Rodgers, like Allen Lazard. But I digress. Who know they're on their last leg and they want to get a big payday. And the Jets will be the team to go ahead and give them that payday. That's the only players you're going to get. You're not going to get an Xavier McKinley signing with the Jets. You're not going to get a Saquon Barkley signing with the Jets. You're not going to get a Derrick Henry signing with the Jets, a Josh Jacobs. You get what I'm saying? Guys who are still in their prime and can still make noise, they're not going to go to the New York Jets, right? Because it's a loser organization. It's a poorly ran franchise. So you're going to have a hard time rebuilding through free agency. You got a bunch of bad contracts on your hand, bad ownership, a quarterback who is washed, the egomaniac, and wants to be the general manager. The only positive sign of taking a job at the Jets is that you are a defensive coordinator, and the Jets do have a lot of good young defensive pieces. But that is it. That is it. And at the end of the day, with the way the rules are set up in the NFL, having a great defense only means something if you also have at least a good offense to go around with it. Arguably a great offense to go along with it. Because just the way the rules are now, you can't really play great defense. Right? Great defense in today's NFL is like 17 to 20 points. If you can keep people around 17, 20 points. Now, then you have to ask yourself the question, do you have an offense that can score that? You got to ask yourself that question. Most defenses, like I said, are going to give up around 20 points, which means you need an offense that can consistently put up 3 to 4 touchdowns a week. Like those Ravens days where you could really play defense and hold people like 10 points a game, 14 points a game, those days are over with. It's not happening anymore because of the rule changes. So, yeah, you got a lot of good defensive pieces to work with, but you're giving up so much on the offensive end and so much in ownership that it's not worth it. I also want to wrap it up with this. I don't think Aaron Glenn is as good of a coach as he made himself out to be. I just don't. During the whole resurgence of the Detroit Lions, their defense was never good. I don't know why their defense got hyped up so much this year. That defense was not good. It wasn't. Any good team was putting up at least 30 points per game on them. I don't want to hear about the injuries because the defense wasn't good last year. Did y'all forget that they let the San Francisco 49ers come back from like 17-21 down? So the defense was not good last year, and the defense was not good at the beginning of this year before the injuries happened. It just has not been good. It hasn't. Now, he's getting a lot of credit for the defense not completely being absolutely terrible, even with the injuries, which is making him look like a better coordinator than he really is. But the reality is the defense didn't fall off with the injuries because it was never good to begin with. So I guess I don't really see him being the type of coach who could really flip anything around anyway. So I think he probably should have went somewhere where you already had a lot of like bullets in the chamber, so to speak. And maybe you just needed a cultural shift. All right. He should have went somewhere like that because I don't love Aaron Glenn as a head coach anyway. I don't love him as a defensive coordinator. I don't think he's some defensive genius or guru like everyone else seems to think he is. But in summation of this, what I want to say is we can't keep complaining about how black coaches get hired and they got this short leash and they get fired immediately when they keep taking pissy jobs. You're taking pissy jobs at poorly run organizations. Reality is the situation. If you took a job somewhere and now don't get me wrong, I know it's harder to get a head coaching job at a prestigious organization because those organizations tend to have a lot less coaching turnover, right? But sometimes you just got to wait. Wait till someone retires. Wait till someone finally has a streak of bad seasons and then take over there or something like that, right? Because if you get a job, like say with Green Bay, you're not going to get fired in 1 year from Green Bay. It's not going to happen. You're not even going to get fired in 2 or 3. You're not going to get fired that fast from Pittsburgh. You're not going to get fired that fast, from San Fran or even Dallas. Now, you got to deal with Jerry Jones, but Jerry Jones ain't going to fire you in a year, right? So you got to start looking at it when we're talking about African-American coaches. What type of jobs are you guys taking and why? Be patient. Have some tact here. Stop taking rebuild gigs. A job where the team is going to be in the bottom 5. They're going to be drafting their next quarterback, and you're just a placeholder like Antonio Pierce was, or you're a placeholder like Lovie Smith was, or you're a placeholder like Jerod Mayo was. You know what this is. You're going to go in there. The team's going to suck. Clearly, they're in a full outright rebuild. I would never take a head coaching job on a team in a full outright rebuild like that. Give me a job where there's a team that has some talent on it and the coach just lost the team, or maybe he overstayed his welcome. He has been there for a long time or something along those lines. Something like the Chargers. The Chargers would have been a great job for a minority coach to take. I know they got Jim Harbaugh over there, but I'm just giving you guys examples. That's the type of job you should be waiting and looking for. That's the type of job that you take. The Vikings, I know they got Kevin O'Connell, but when they had an opening, that's the type of job that you take. Why would you go to the New York Jets? I just don't understand it. I don't think it's going to work out, but it is what it is, and he did what he did. That's my thoughts on that matter, guys. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.